I think if you can, like you said, we deposit, we withdraw, and that's okay. It doesn't always have to be even. Life isn't even. But if you can continue to get, yeah. I think that you're going to sometimes deposit a little bit more or withdraw a little bit more, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to always be depositing or withdrawing, but I think it's when it becomes unbalanced for too long. That's when you reevaluate.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I think that's a great opportunity for us to transition into the balance of being a mommy, being a top realtor, trying to be the best wife that you can be. So what is it like having 3 little ones? And they're not little anymore. They're getting big, right?
I can't believe it.
It's
wild.
But you've gone through that, right? And as your business has continued to grow, you're raising a family. Let's dive into that. How have you managed that?
Oh, geez.
How much time do we have?
I know. How much time do we have? Do we need therapy? What do we need? They are my greatest achievements. Yeah. They are my blessings. They keep me on my toes. They're hysterical. It was hard, having twins.
Yeah. And by the way, this is giving advice to our female realtors that are mommies that have gone through something very similar. So I think it's really important for them to hear this.
Yeah. So we, have talked about that. And I think you've actually sent me a couple of people who were thinking about getting into real estate, but who were moms and didn't know and making a transition. And that is so complimentary, from you, because you are so successful and that you think that I've done that well, is a huge honor. And so I appreciate that. And
it's also how you go about doing it.
Well,
that's another reason why I admire
my calendar. It's all color coded, and people always laugh. Like, I think it was hard. It was really hard. I had full-time help. I still have help, and she's been with us since the boys were born, and
that was a financial commitment.
That was a financial commitment, especially as the kids got older and they were doing preschool and that. I mean, it's a financial commitment, and kids are not cheap at all. And we worked really hard, and luckily I have a husband who is 50-50 on things. He's super active dad, and wants to be there and wants to be a part of his kids' lives every day.
As we know, he's probably one of the best salesmen in all of Austin.
He's really good.
He really is.
It's ironic that we're both in sales, and and we're we compliment each other, but I feel like I'm probably the more loud one, but he's a very chill, even guy. He's my biggest cheerleader. Always, you need this. Okay, let's do it. You want to make the jump. Okay, let's do it. He's always been my number one supporter. And I could not do any of this without him.
Yeah.
And
well, you're both so genuine in your approach to your craft.
Yes.
Right. When he was at Allen, he was the number one boot salesman in town. Yeah. When you go in, you know that you're going to spend a lot of money on boots with him, but he does it with such a high level of integrity.
And he's not going to upsell you.
No, he's not going to upsell you. It's like,
you want a black boot, or with whatever. Okay, you want a custom? Great, let's design it. And it was a hard transition for him to leave, and but he's never been happier. And now he's at Covert and so happy.
Top
and
salesman over there.
He'll
go into
he's
leadership.
Been great. Yeah, and he's learned from the best.
Yep.
And that is another thing. He knew where to go to be at the best, and having that friendship for a long time with those guys over there has been that was a big pull for him.
Again, it goes back to relationships.
Right?
And we pivoted a little bit away from you being a mommy.
Oh yeah.
But we were going towards those relationships, how important it is to have a spouse that can support you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when we started having kids, I was still an assistant but also, doing deals and things like that, and helping all of my agents, but it was a lot. It was stressful. I mean, you saw firsthand, I was a little stressed, just because it's the management. It's how can I still be on my game 150%? How can I be a mom 150% and a wife and a friend? I mean, there's all these hats you're wearing, and I didn't want to give up any of it, you know?
Did you ever feel like that there were breakdown moments? Like where you want to go into a fetal position?
Maybe.
You know, where it maybe felt like this is too much.
Yeah.
As a working woman, trying to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think when we had the boys, I was like, okay, I need to explore being an agent.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't want to be an assistant to my people I worked with. It was just managing my schedule, the boys' schedule, and then these other agents' schedules, because it really was every day. If something popped up, I mean, I had to be available.
Yep.
And so I was working really long hours. It was a lot to manage. I think it was a test of who I am as a person and as an agent and as a mom. And it made me really efficient. I mean, I think I was already efficient in that. But I
know you were. You were all, I mean, just everybody needs to understand how efficient you always have been as an assistant. Hey, Steve, have you ordered the appraisal? Hey, Steve, do you have the title? Hey, Steve, do you have the initial approval? Hey, Steve, where are you at on conditions? Hey, Steve, there's Jessica calling. And I would look at it, I go, is she calling me with a referral or is she calling me to bust on me? You know,
I know.
Because we're on day 21.
Yeah.
You know?
But you made sure that happened, and you knew who I am, and you accepted that, and knew it wasn't because I was writing you. It was more of just because I wanted to make sure that we got it done.
Yep.
And because I don't like to let people down. I don't like things hanging out there. And I mean, I can't unwind, you know. I always laugh like when, you know, people are moving. I'm like, did you unpack? You know, how fast did you unpack? You know? And so just because I can't function without that. So as a mom, having to balance that, I think it taught me a lot on, okay, when do you turn it off? Because our business, you don't turn off a lot. I mean, you're available all the time.
All the time.
I mean, I get text at 11 o'clock at night, you know, or 4 in the morning, you know.
You may have a weekend that you're not working, and then you may have 5 weekends in a row that you are.
Yeah, but you have to hit it while it's hot.
Yep.
You know, if it's a busy time,
I'm going to name this episode, Hit It While It's Hot. If you don't, it'll go cold.
It will. You know, but if someone's ready to go or you find the right house, you got to go. It's not going to be there when you get home.
And they've got to trust that fact, right? Because they know that you're not being all salesy. You're like, hey, this one's going to have multiple offers. Here's what we've got to do. And that trust factor that you have with the relationships that you have with your clients, that's so valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a mom, I like to be involved. I never wanted my kids to look at me and say, my mom put her career ahead of me, because I've had friends whose moms very successful.
We've seen them. They're there. They're all around us. Yeah.
And
how those kids turn out.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they are really successful, but they're repeating that cycle. And my dad he worked a lot. I mean, he brought his computer on vacations, and, you know, same thing. His clients didn't, you know, stop. And I appreciate that. And I saw that there are times where, you know, I want to make sure that my kids see that, yes, my mom is successful, but I'm still the priority. She's doing this because of me, and she wants to provide for me. And my dad does the same thing because he wants to provide for me, but also give me a quality of life. You know, it's not just about the success. It's about it's about quality of life and the memories. You know, that's so important.
Yep.
Being an active mom is really important to me. Yep. So I will tell my clients, I'm at sing song for my daughter's preschool, or I'm always room mom for all my kids' class, you know, and you know, my kids are at 3 different schools. So it's a busy one.
That?
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah.
You know, and so, but I want them to see my mom has made me a priority just as much as my brother, just as much as my sister. And, you know, I go to every game, and that is really important to me. And so I just am honest.
Well, and what you do, and I think that's a good opportunity for us to talk about the commitment that you and Ryan made, the financial commitment. Y'all were in a great area of town on your home on Finley. You've been there for a while, but you knew that y'all wanted to be in the Eanes School District. Yeah. You knew where you wanted to be, and you knew the financial commitment and the efforts it was going to take to try to find that home. And I remember we knew the area of town you wanted to be. You wanted to be in Lost Creek. You wanted to be in Eanes, and it was hard as heck to get a house. I remember when you're like, "Hey, Steve, this one," and the price points just kept going up. You know, it was during that time.
Multiple offers, cash.
Yes. And we're competing against those, right? And so talk a little bit about how important that was for you to get your kids into the area of town that you knew that they could excel.
So community is really important to us. We wanted our kids to grow up where they could ride their bikes, go to a neighbor's house, you know, all those things.
Leave the bike in the yard.
Leave the bike in the yard. You know, not concerned about, you know, certain things happening, and what that happened in an urban area. And Eanes was just also the schools. You know, you get the benefit of like private with, you know, your public school. Community is really important there, and that is something that is, you know, important to us. There's we're Christian, and so that's really important that we were surrounded by like-minded people. And for us, Eanes offered that, and the community
that was a huge
alone
commitment for you to make that choice.
Oh, it was huge.
People need to understand what it takes from a financial commitment.
And from a personal. I mean, do we, you know, what do we want? Where do we want to be? How long? When is that? And our kids were getting older. The boys, you know, were starting, and we wanted them to put down roots, and we wanted to build that community, and them know if my mom and dad are, you know, if I need to talk to someone, I can go talk to this person or this person in my community. We have a son who has dyslexia. And so he's at a great school now that specializes in it, Ross and Saunders. They're fantastic. They're but that's not a, you know, you go there to get remediated. And Eanes offers a lot of accommodations. So when he is ready to not be there anymore, we have a great place for him to go because he's brilliantly smart, just learns in a different way, you know? And so, and one of ours is super athletic. And, you know, nowadays you hear about these schools who don't play any sports at recess.
Don't understand it,
I mean, and that was something that happened for us where we were before. One day, you know, and Ryan's athletic, played sports his whole life. Came home, and he said, "Hey, did you practice, you know, football?" And our son Witten said, "No, they won't let me play football. They said it's too aggressive of a sport to play at recess."
At recess, yeah.
And we're sitting there going, what is happening? You know, and that's the world we're in right now. And I won't get into politics about all of that, but
that's on another show.
Yeah, that's another show. We have a lot of other shows.
Yeah, we do.
And so we just, when that happened, we thought, you know what? We need to go somewhere where people are like us and who are like-minded like us. I'm not saying anything. It's what works for our family. I have no judgment on anyone else. If that's what works for your family, fantastic.
Right.
Because not everyone is sports or, you know, whatever your interests are. They all are different, and every family's different. And I respect that. And so, but I think for us, it was, we needed to make a move. What was the financial, you know, part of that? And then what could we do to make our family to get them where they needed to be and to be happy. And we were very happy where we were. I mean, we were there for years. And but we moved, and our kids are thriving. They're so happy. They have, you know, we've been so welcomed into this fantastic community of support and love and fun, and, you know, and so for us, it's just, we gotta, like, why did we wait so long, you know?